So, guys, last season you know how bad was the Cowboys defense. We made a lot of mistakes. We all watched it happen and it hurt. But then we brought in Christian Parker, and you know what is wild in this decision? Whatever he is quietly building with this Cowboys defense is the exact same blueprint that just won the Super Bowl. I'm talking defensive line, linebackers, safeties, every single piece falling into place. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why this scheme gives Dallas real Super Bowl potential. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook, Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Look, I've been watching film, and the more I study what Christian Parker is building, the more I realize people are sleeping on this Cowboys defense. This isn't just a few new pieces. This is a complete proven system, the same one that just shut down the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And when I lined up our roster against it, I'm telling you, it fits. Now let me break this down for you. The defense that won the Super Bowl was built on a few key principles. Strong players in the middle of the defense, quick and smart linebackers, and two high safeties that can stay back and protect against big plays. That's it. That's the foundation. And when you understand that, you start to see exactly what Christian Parker has been doing with this roster. Let's start up front, because honestly, this is where it all begins. You cannot run this kind of defense without dominant players on the defensive line. You need guys who can clog gaps, two-gap, hold their ground, and free up the linebackers behind them. And look, the Cowboys have been building this. We got Kenny Clark, we got Quinnen Williams, we got Otito Ogbonnia. I mean, when you line those guys up and you think about what they're capable of doing in the middle of that defense, you start to see the vision. These are big, physical, smart players who understand how to control their gaps. And that's exactly what this defense needs to work. And here's the thing, when you have great players holding it down in the middle, everything else opens up. The linebackers don't have to do as much heavy lifting against the run. The safeties can stay back in two high looks. The corners can play their assignments without worrying about getting gashed up the middle. It's all connected. One thing feeds the other. And Christian Parker clearly understands this, because the moves this organization has made this offseason tell a very specific story. Now let's talk about the linebackers, because this is where things get really interesting. The defense I'm talking about lives and dies by its linebacker unit. You need guys who are fast, smart, and can pursue and make plays in space. Not just thumpers, not just run stoppers. Guys who can read, react, and get to the ball. And look at what the Cowboys did. We went and got Rashan Gary. We got DeMarvion Overshown. We got Donovan Ezeruaku. I mean, think about that group for a second. That is a fast, athletic, smart linebacker crew. And Parker didn't build that group by accident. He built it because this defense demands exactly that kind of player. And specifically, Overshown playing that Mike linebacker role is something I've been thinking about a lot. Because in this system, the Mike linebacker is everything. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's reading the offense, communicating gaps, filling when needed, and flowing to the football. And the Cowboys view DeMarvion Overshown as exactly that kind of player. Smart, fast, instinctive. A guy who can process information quickly and be in the right spot. That matters more in this defense than people realize. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about the run defense? Because if you're playing with a six-man box and two high safeties, aren't you giving up the run? And honestly, that's the question a lot of people ask. But here's what I figured out watching this stuff. When your defensive line is dominant enough and your linebackers are fast enough to fill and pursue, you can stop the run with six guys. You don't need to load the box. You don't need to bring extra defenders down. Your players just have to be better than their blockers. And when you have Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams and Otito Ogbonnia holding those gaps, and you have Rashan Gary and Ezeruaku flying around behind them, you have enough. You genuinely have enough. Now let's get into the secondary, because honestly, this is where this defense becomes something special. The whole point of two high safeties is to take away the big play. Keep everything in front of you. Make the offense work in tight windows. Make the quarterback uncomfortable. And the Cowboys have been building exactly that kind of secondary. Jalen Thompson, Caleb Downs, PJJ, lock DaRon Bland when he's healthy, Shavon Revel, Cobie Durant, Darian Kendrick, Devin Moore. I mean, look at that group. That is a deep, athletic, smart group of defensive backs. And what I want people to understand is this defense doesn't ask the secondary to just backpedal and run with receivers. That's not how it works. This is about rotating, communicating, passing guys off, and always keeping the play in front of you. That's the key. Everything stays in front. Defenders are stepping forward, not running backward. And when you have smart, communicative defensive backs who understand their assignments and trust each other, that becomes really, really hard to beat. Which brings me to cover 6, and I know that sounds technical, but stay with me because this is important. Cover 6 is basically cover 4 on one side of the field and cover 2 on the other. What that means in plain language is you're giving the quarterback two completely different looks at the same time. The receiver on one side is seeing one coverage, the receiver on the other side is seeing something totally different. And when your defensive backs are smart enough to rotate and communicate post-snap, like really communicate, not just line up and react, you can take away every single option a quarterback has. I mean, think about what that does to an offense. You come out in trips, 3 receivers on one side, and this defense can match you with more defenders on that side while still having the best coverage guy locked onto the other team's best receiver on the other side. You're outnumbered before the snap even happens, and if the quarterback tries to find the open guy, there isn't one. He's either checking it down on 3rd and long, which is a win for the defense, or he's scrambling, which is also a win for the defense. That's what this coverage system does when you run it correctly. And look, Christian Parker has been talking about communication since day one, and I didn't fully understand why until I started studying this defense, because this isn't a defense where you just line up and go. The safeties are calling adjustments, the corners are rotating, the linebackers are reading and filling gaps. Every single player has to know what everyone else is doing. It's a thinking man's defense, and that's exactly why Parker said he needed smart players. Now, you might be wondering, has this actually been proven to work? And guys, I'm telling you, yes. The Super Bowl. The Chiefs ran power play after power play trying to gash this defense, and they couldn't do it. Great blocking schemes, hat on hat, everything set up perfectly on paper, and the defense just blew it up. Why? Because the players were better. The linebacker beat the block to the spot. The safety came screaming down. The edge holder stayed disciplined. Every gap filled. Every lane closed. That's not luck. That's a system working exactly the way it's designed to work. And the passing game, same story. They led the league in coverage grade. They led the league in explosive pass rate allowed. Quarterbacks were sitting back there with clean pockets and nobody open because the communication was there. The rotations were right. The scheme was sound. They went from one of the worst pass defenses in the league to the absolute best in 1 year. And that's what Christian Parker is trying to replicate here in Dallas. Look, I'm not saying this defense is going to be perfect overnight. It takes reps. It takes trust. It takes guys getting comfortable with the communication and the rotations and the pass-offs. But the foundation is there. The defensive line pieces are there. The linebacker group is there. The secondary pieces are there. And most importantly, the guy running it knows exactly what he's doing. And another thing I want to point out, because people overlook this defense doesn't just stop offenses, it demoralizes them. Think about it from a quarterback's perspective. You're standing back there, you got time, your protection is holding up, and you look left, covered. You look right, covered. You look middle, covered. Nobody is open, and the clock is ticking. And you know that if you take a sack or throw an incompletion, it's 3rd and long, and this defense is going to suffocate you on 3rd and long too. That's a mental thing that wears on an offense over the course of a game, over the course of a season. And that's exactly the kind of defense Christian Parker is trying to build here. And look, a lot of people think if you're in a light box with 2 high safeties, teams can just come out heavy and run it down your throat. But not against this defense. You go 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, a fullback? This defense just flips to a 34 linemen, 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and you're still in 2 high safeties. You match their personnel without changing anything about your coverage. And with Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and Otito up front, plus Rashawn Gary on the edge, good luck moving that. So, when people ask me why I'm excited about this Cowboys defense, this is why. We're not just hoping things get better. We're watching a proven blueprint being installed in Dallas, the same one that just won the Super Bowl. If these guys trust the system and get the communication down, Cowboys Nation, we have something special on our hands.